their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedougsstewartshow.com or the link on the DougStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house. This is hour number 2, and you are listening to The Doug Stewart Show. Yes, live on Spreaker.com, as well as TheDougStewartShow.com, the funnest show on turf. Thank you for joining you, boys. Hope you had a great weekend this past weekend. I did. Fantastic. Off the chain. Homecoming. We got a big win. I ate a lot of food. Fattening. Probably picked up about 10 pounds this weekend. And there's nothing like tailgating, man. Tailgating is like apple pie, man. I mean, it's like baseball and apple pie out this bitch. I love tailgating and just the free-fall food. And I don't eat sausage anymore, pork. But there's a lot of other stuff. Endless hot dogs. I probably ate, this is no lie, I'm not exaggerating. I probably ate about 12 hot dogs. And I know that's not good. Yeah, there's a lot of salt in it. Yeah, but I had a great weekend this past weekend in Orangeburg, South Cackalack. All right, you are listening to The Doug Stewart Show, and the number is 404-382-0338. That is the number to the show, 404-382-0338. All right, a couple of things. We're talking about, we're talking about the Dougie Daly, who's the face of your organization, of your franchise, of the program that you follow. And I got this from the great Mean Joe Green. He retired his jersey this past weekend for the Pittsburgh Steelers as number 75. So who's that guy for your team? And also, we're getting your ballers and your busters from this past weekend or whatever that may be. But back to the Pittsburgh thing in a second and Mean Joe Green. Who was the particular guy for the Dallas Cowboys? And I got a lot of messages about different teams, and we're having fun with that. But who's the guy for the Dallas Cowboys? Is it Roger Staubach? Is it Troy Aikman, a newer school guy? Is it Emmitt Smith? Is it Michael Irvin? Hit me up on the chatter and let me get your thoughts on that. And you can do that on the Spreaker chat on Spreaker.com. So we're having some fun with that. And we're also talking about these sports. In the last segment, I talked about this emotional commercial. May have been the most emotional sports commercial in the history of sports commercials with LeBron James. And I think they called it Together. But my producer actually just posted it on my Facebook and on my Twitter. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. They played it before the game, and it was done by Nike, and they played it before the game on Thursday night, actually, before the Cavaliers took on the New York Knicks. And just very emotional, man, with all the story and the backstory about LeBron going back to Cleveland. This thing was well done. It was very, very emotional. So if you want to check that out, as well as you can check out a lot of the pictures that I posted from this past weekend, get kind of a inside view of my life this past weekend at my homecoming. I posted a lot of pictures on Instagram and on my Facebook, so go and check those out as well. All right, 404-382-0338. That's the number to the show, 404-382-0338. If you talked about the University of South Carolina, and I mentioned Marcus Lattimore a little bit earlier, the fact that he won't be able to play football anymore, it looks like he's going to retire. Just like Georgia is, overwhelmingly the most iconic person to play in that program for the Georgia Bulldogs is Herschel Walker. I don't think there's a doubt that it's George Rogers for the South Carolina Gamecocks in that football program. Won the Heisman Trophy back in 1980, I believe. So yeah, and there's been a lot of great players for South Carolina. I mean, a tremendous amount. Marcus Lattimore is a guy that you could talk about as being one of the greatest players or one of the most iconic players or the faces of that program in the years. People might even talk about Jadeveon Clowney, Todd Ellis, Sterling Sharp. There's been a ton of great guys. But I think that overwhelmingly that vote would be George Rogers. So that's what we're doing today, having a little fun with that. And also, I named today's show Hail to Big Ben 2. And the reason is because Ben Roethlisberger did it again in a 43-23 win against the Baltimore Ravens. This sucker throws for another 6 touchdowns. What the hell has gotten into Ben Roethlisberger? What? And the Pittsburgh Steelers roll in a huge win. Ben Roethlisberger throws for 303 yards. That's 340 yards. 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he's done this all without making mistakes. So, oh boy, they got their little swag back with James Harrison. Ben Roethlisberger throwing the football great. Look out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's a couple of messages from the chat line. That ninja says, Vic played great until he got concussed. That's the problem. That's the problem with Mike Vick. Either he's going to fumble the ball or he's not going to be able to get down and protect himself. So what good is he if half the damn time he's not on the field? And we talked about the Jets earlier and how they lose their 8th game in a row. And I mentioned Vic came in and didn't do a whole lot better than Geno Smith. Let me take that back. He did a lot better than Geno Smith because Geno Smith has just been so bad. But, yeah, he gets concussed, comes back a little bit later. It looks like he's going to be fine. And this guy just continues to take big hits. From Fred Mack, he says, I take Gronk over Davis 12 times out of 10, laughing my ass off. And I guess he's talking about Vernon Davis. We talked about Rob Gronkowski a little bit earlier, and I said this guy might be the biggest matchup problem in NFL history, or very, very close, because he's just too damn big and agile. He's like a freaking dancing bear. All right, what, 6'6", 260, 270 pounds, and moves very well. He might be one of the biggest matchups in NFL history. And so, having some fun with that, talking about that. When you talk about teams, who's the guy that is your guy, or the guy that you believe most of the fans have said team would say is the most iconic figure in their company's or their team's history? That's what we're talking about today, having a little fun with that. From, who do we got here? From John Marshall, says, I live in Houston. Clowney was sick with the flu, and they held him out yesterday. There was a little conversation on the chat, and make sure you check out my chat on Spreaker.com. There's a little conversation about Clowney and the light that the organization is kind of casting him in. It kind of came across this past weekend that Clowney could have gone if not for a little cold. Yeah. That's the way it kind of came across, and I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm not sure, but that's, the way it kind of came across, and there was some discussion about the organization painting him in a bad light, and that's not actually the case. He was actually sick, so it doesn't look good for Clowney because everybody's questioning in his heart, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and they're questioning the fact that, does this guy really want to play football? Is he injury prone? And so this weekend wasn't a good look for a guy that should have been able to play from the injury that he suffered early in the year from the knee, but didn't play because of the way it's coming across, once again, is a cold. But if you're sick and you're throwing up and you got a fever of 100 and something, you can't play. And I don't know what's the truth. Maybe the truth lies somewhere in the middle, but we should see Jadeveon Clowney this weekend. We should, all right? 404-382-0338. Let's grab a call. Caller, you're on the Doug Stewart Show. Where are you calling from, and what the hell do you want to talk about?
That's all. What's happening?
What up, man? How you doing? Who's this, T from Huntsville?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What you know good, man?
I'm good. T, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, man. Enjoying the show as always, sir, man. I wanted to get in on Balls and Busters if I could.
Do it.
Big Ben, got to give him a baller. 6 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns. You can't deny what he's doing on the field. My man is a straight-up baller.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, when Big Ben sees something he wants, he takes it. I'd like to give a baller to the Ohio State University. We're still keeping it up, winning the games we're supposed to win. We won't get in the dance. Schedule is just too weak, but we'll stay in a significant bowl. So,
and you know what? Ohio State, I hate to cut you off, T, but Ohio State, you're talking about Ohio State there. For some reason, the committee for these power rankings isn't showing them any love. And I don't know what it is because they've only had the one loss, and it was a bad loss against, Virginia Tech, right?
Yeah, terrible loss against Virginia Tech. But the thing is, though, right after we lost to them, Virginia Tech went and lost 2 games straight.
Yeah, and that makes them look bad. You're right. But, I never thought in a million years a team with all these teams ahead of them with one loss, a team in Ohio State from the Big Ten wouldn't get more love, but for some reason the committee's down on these guys.
Yeah, they are. We're pretty damn far down as far as the rankings go. A lot of people gonna have to fall off for us to come up. So I mean, it is what it is. But again, in my opinion, our schedule was so weak we should have beat everybody and not put ourselves in that position. So I'm not even mad at the committee, to be honest.
Right.
I like to also give a bust to the Georgia. Now I argued you before that their schedule was weak, and I understand it's not. They're in the SEC, but they're in the SEC East, and the East is as weak as ice water.
It is.
And at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, I just thought it was going to be hard for them to run the ball all year and win. As a spectator watching at home, I knew the only thing Georgia was going to do was run the ball left, right, throw a screen pass, or throw it to the tight end.
Yeah.
So I know Florida's defense knew it. And that's what happened to him at the end of the day. Way too predictable.
And it's ironic because Hudson Mason has his best day passing statistically as he throws for over 300 yards. But, it wasn't at the right times. And a lot of drives stalled from what I understand. So, I feel you on that. It looks like you were right about that.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's football, man. It's a matter of a play here, a play there, good luck, bad luck. And one more ball at Auburn University just for handling business. And it was a rough game as it always is, scoring fast, hard to stop them. And it came down to a play, at the end of the day, with Treadwell, and I hate that happened to that kid because he balled out and he's a very good player. So, I wish him a speedy recovery, man. But, it's football, and at the end of the day, those are the breaks.
Yeah.
Thank God for the Doug Stewart Show. Even if you don't know it, best answer on the radio, so I'm calling.
I appreciate the call. And T called 404-382-0338, and he's exactly right. This poll, the new poll that came out late last night, Mississippi State still at number 1 in the country. Florida State number 2. I didn't even get a chance to talk about that Florida State as it happened on Thursday night, and obviously I wasn't here last Friday. And thanks for everybody that listened to the Doug Stewart Show, the best of the Doug Stewart on Friday. Numbers really didn't dip a lot, even though people knew that it was a tape show. But Auburn, they're right there. And I remember when Auburn lost to Mississippi State, and they're 6-1 now. Everybody thought, they should have dropped down more. But the way they lost that game, and they spotted them 3 touchdowns, I believe, 21 points, and still made it a game late. Auburn deserves to be where they're at right now. I have no problem with these rankings right now. Once again, for the second week in a row, I still have a problem with Oregon. Oregon being ranked over Alabama, and Oregon even being ranked over a Michigan State team. Okay, even though they did beat Michigan State, that's the problem in that. But it's almost like with Oregon, they're trying to find a way to put in Oregon or a team from that conference to put into the conversation just to spread it out and show a little bit of diversity. I don't buy Oregon. I don't buy Oregon at all. Too much finesse. I've said it for years. And these teams in the SEC, man, they're just doing what they got to do. Now, once again, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, they are going to cancel each other out and put some separation between themselves because you got Auburn and Alabama going to take each other on the Iron Bowl, and you got that Egg Bowl thing with Mississippi State and Ole Miss. So it's going to work itself out, just like the BCS kind of worked itself out over the years. But we can't be mad at the playoff in any regard. It doesn't even matter. We cannot, as football fans, be mad at a playoff, all right? 404-382-0338 when we get back from the break. We're going to have a little barbershop roll call, man. Yeah, we're going to talk to some folks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, my man at Ron Smith's Barbershop. We got them all connected, and we're going to have them on and talk about their Steelers. The Steelers back to life and back to reality, as well as I'm going to get their thoughts about, them retiring Joe Green's number, and is he the most iconic Pittsburgh Steeler of all time? So we'll have some fun with the guys and Ron Smith's Barbershop in Pittsburgh, PA, all right? And today's Dougie Daily question: who's the most iconic guy in your program or on the team that you follow in sports? We're doing ballers and busters. It's just fun. Don't go away, the Doug Stewart Show. Business owners, Advertising Limited is one of the few national flyer and door hanger distribution companies that service every market in the U.S., promoting your grand opening or special event, as well as creating brand recognition amongst the public. Here's what they do. They deliver your printed ad or promotion to the front door of your targeted customer. The beauty is they outperform direct mail advertising, and your ad doesn't get lost in the mailbox. Now, isn't that what really matters? Boom! The most professional, reliable distribution teams in the business, and they also provide real-time proof of performance for all campaigns. An A rating with the Better Business Bureau, and were voted one of the fastest-growing companies in the U.S. by Inc. magazine. Advertising Limited has the capability to print and distribute up to 20,000 flyers or more. for less than the price of a stamp. Use the promo code DSS and get an extra 10% discount on your initial campaign. So, give them a call at 1-866-369-9003. Again, that's 1-866